The idea here was a little bit to, after seeing 1.5 days of all those different exciting technologies, something here that Luca put together for us using like really the latest tools that came out in the couple of last days, is this might be super exciting, but in terms of adapting this into existing production companies, media companies, there is a little bit more behind this, and it's not as easy to inject change management and transformation processes in existing bigger companies. Maybe to give a little bit of an insight, Danilo, you are from Leonine Studios, who recently joined the Mediavan family, so you're a really big company currently. Nicola Kohl, you're the CEO of South and Browse. It is a tongue twister. South and Browse, TH and S, which creates a lot of factual entertainment and documentary filmmaking. And we talked last year already at Seriencamp about how certain AI tools and AI-powered tools are already strongly influencing your workflows and how you apply them. And Jan Diepers, the CEO of Studio Hamburg and Serienwerft, who were talking, I think, also last year at Seriencamp about this adaptation process of AI into a company, where you said very clearly that a lot of the stuff might be exciting, but from your point of view, you have to take one step after another and try to make sense of it before applying it to anything. I would be super interested to give like a quick introduction where you think with your company are standing right now, and what is your vision of integrating those processes, while I get over there and get my moderation cards. Hold on.
Would you like to start? Yeah. As you were the last one referenced.
Yeah, I'm very happy to start. Actually, in the moment we are still in a beta phase. Let's put it that way. With most of our projects that we're trying a lot of things down the line on the pipeline, which I will have a chance to give an insight just in a few seconds. When you're looking at implementing AI or tools within a company, you have to do a lot of talking. Because first of all, there's a big fear. What can I do? What is legally possible to do? Then there's also a big fear about will that affect my working space? Will I not be up for the tasks and stuff like that? And this you have to take away because actually it's much easier than you think. And once you overcome the fear, all the people in my company actually do see that they were suddenly freed by a lot of tasks they actually didn't want to do in the first place, and that there's more creative freedom for other work. And I have to say that, I mean, we are producing primarily a daily production, so therefore there's never enough time, and there's always lots of seeking for opportunities to increase the creativity time.
I think when we last talked, you mentioned, for example, trying out certain new processes in, for example, producing Terra X, the Shaman, where you worked with the integration of Unreal Engine, imagining, and generative AI processes. A year later, how has this evolved, or what kind of new tools and processes have you tried out in the meantime?
Yeah, I've brought a current preview of a current production from the ZDF. I can show that one later. But I think in the last few years we moved from a lot of experimenting to deeply integrated into our workflows, our production workflows. So what started with trying out ChatGPT, different Da Vinci features, has now become a more structured system from the development to the post-production. For example, in the field of development and research, we use different tools like GetLiner, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Notebook LM, but we have to be very careful because of hallucinations. So we developed a hybrid, multi-layered workflow, because we always need human oversight, and multi-layered, I mean with different tools. And we developed format-specific prompt templates, for example, for special formats that makes the process repeatable, reliable, and shareable within the team. And for example, in the post-production, we have a consistent toolkit which we use, from automated audio transcription to text-based editing, to different tools like voice isolation, color grading, and in the field of voiceovers, we have gained a lot of experience with 11 Labs, where we have digitalized different voices that we use for layout voiceovers, for example. So I would say it's getting more structured compared to the last years, where we have experimented a lot. And I think it's not about canceling or replacing talents. It's about empowering the team and about having more time for the creative work. Nobody wants to do boring, repetitive tasks. So
I think for a company of the size of Leonine, implementing any kind of change is not as quick as like pressing a button and suddenly everyone uses a new set of tools or something new. What are some of the big challenges that are for you involved in implementing the new tools you use, and how do you then disseminate it in like a big structure like Leonine?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've heard most of the things in the last 2 days. So we are, of course, struggling with the exact same issues everyone else on small and large scale. And it starts much earlier. Even before we think of the specific tools, we have a framework which we call the enabling factors of AI, which is 3 pillars. The first one is regulation, the second one is technology, and the third one is education. And when we approach these things, we go after those. So first one is regulation within the company, and that of course radiates out into the industry. But we have a very specific framework set in place how we regulate AI within the company. This is heavily inspired by GDPR and IT requirements after all. So it's not too different, but there are several cases that need to be addressed a little differently than with GDPR questions, for example. Then the second one is technology. Specifically, people need the technology available so they can work on it. So that was the second question we answered. And to give some context, Leonine are about 800 people, employed people, and it's a lot of back office work. So production and what Luca has presented and all the other artists is amazing, and I'm fascinated deeply by that. But we must keep in mind that we have so many people who are working like back office stuff. So one of our first objectives was enabling them, and that's as simple as it might sound, chat assistants. But then again, thinking of the scale, it becomes a little more difficult. Okay, so we have technology, check mark. And the last one is then education. And it actually starts with every tutorial I give, that I tell the people, from now on, you're not allowed to use the term AI in this company, except when you talk about my job title. Because AI is, for us, too broad. We are now professionalizing. Asking anybody, Danilo, can AI help me solve this problem? The answer is, well, you asked me just like my mother would ask me 10 years ago, can the internet solve my problem? So just like we said, I deleted the internet because we lacked the sort of understanding. We really try to educate that there are different things. Name the tools by what they are doing. It's chat assistant, it's an LLM, it's an image generator, and so on and so forth. It's not AI. There is the saying, as long as it doesn't work, people call it AI. When it works, it's called software. So this is a little how we approach education on the high level, and then it will go into details, and I have talked long enough.
The thing that I find interesting in terms of how do you, if you have like a set of tools and options, maybe going back a year ago, you said a year ago you started your job at Leonine.
Yeah.
Going back a year ago, sitting together with the management level, how are the decision processes on what to focus first and which tools to use, and how does this then roll out, for example, over the last year into something now very concrete like the chatbot you established at Leonine?
Very systematic. We approach it just like any consulting agency would do it. We plotted our various use cases and we heard all of them. It's subtitling, transcription, chat assistance, all these things on an XY scale, which is use for the company and implementation speed. And based on that, we prioritized. And as I already mentioned, that's no secret, we have our own chat tool, which was the first priority because of the leverage we have when we deployed to 800 people. So that was the use case number one. And I don't know, was it the end of the question?
Yeah, but so this means like you have like a management team that then decides on very...
we prioritize, definitely.
Prioritizing which point you're focusing first on in terms of scale and scalability that makes sense for you as a company.
I mean, that's a low-hanging fruit, chat assistance for everybody. I think everybody in this room would agree on that strategy. But again, it's difficult to actually pull that off. And of course, we need to keep looking at all fields of AI that oops, I said it. That we have been discussing in the last days. But yeah, we need to prioritize because everybody has only limited resources and the employees as well. And our goal is, if we see the whole transformation of AI, I deliberately say that, it's like a wave which is coming if we want it or not. And our job now as a company with many employees is to give the people surfboards and teach them how to surf, and not just build dams to prevent the wave from coming or so.
I think what you mentioned when you said how you used or at which point you used. Now I'm fearful of saying AI. No, I have like
do it. It's only
AI-powered tools.
It's a safe space here.
It's a safe space. When you say at which points you are trying out what AI-powered tools, how they can support the production process, it seems to be on a really practical level of trying to solve very concrete problems in the production process. For example, you mentioned that sometimes if you shoot documentary, that some of the material you get is not the best, and then you have the AI-powered tools to support this.
Help us out. Yeah. We often deal when we produce documentaries with non-predictable situations like short time windows or limited access. When you think about undercover work, for example, or shooting in high security locations like in a prison in Japan where you only have 2 hours filming and you don't know exactly what it's expecting. And so when we talk about productions where AI does not replace boots on the ground, so where we do normal filming, we rely on AI very much not to replace the footage, but to enhance it and sometimes rescue it. So for example, when you have an interview and there's a lot of noise in the background, you cannot change that situation. So we have now AI that is really, really helpful in the post-production process for on a visual basis and on an audio basis. So on a visual basis, imagine you have shaky camera. There are a lot more opportunities, easier opportunities to for image upscaling or motion interpolation, or on the audio basis, you can rescue more easily compromised audio. Before, it was a lot of work, a lot of people involved, and tasks that nobody wanted to do. And now our editors often say it's life-changing. They cannot imagine life before all these tools, because this is so boring. And so now we have time, in a certain way, for higher value tasks, you know, being creative, thinking about your story and storytelling. So that's, on the one hand, really like enhance the material you get in a non-controllable situation. And on the other hand, we have now really new opportunities to tell stories that you cannot film with a camera in a like documentary style. For example, when we talk about historic past content or complex scientific content that has to be visualized in a way. So there are a lot of new, really exciting possibilities. And I brought one example that is very short because it's not released yet. It's a historic format for the streaming platform of the ZDF. Not the Mediathek anymore, it's the streaming platform of the ZDF. And it's called Deepfake Diaries. So we put historic personalities, we put historic personalities in an interview situation, and we used deepfake technology and deep dub technology. So it was quite challenging because we had very few material. There were only few audio material from the original voice, and very few pictures, images. Everybody knows all these great deepfakes from Elon Musk or Markus Söder, but they have millions probably of photos that have been fed where they could feed the AI with. So we had very few. So this was quite kind of challenging. So this is like a preview. So please don't take pictures. I promise to my editor.
Maybe we can have a quick look here.
Yes.